The steam is the clan's lifeblood. It rises in ghostly plumes from the fractured earth, carrying the planet's deep warmth into the biting cold of the long winter. Here, in this one blessed valley, the snows do not stick. The ground is soft. The pools of water are hot enough to soothe aching muscles. And the strange, hardy mosses that grow at the edges of the geothermal vents provide a constant, this meager source of sustenance. The clan of the smoking earth knows no other world. Their history, a story told in grunts and hands around flickering fires, speaks only of this place, a single, precious ember of life in a vast, frozen expanse. For these early humans, this is the entirety of creation. Tail, the clan's strongest hunter, watches his daughter, Naira, chase a small, furry mammal near the edge of the great central pool. Her laughter is a sharp, happy sound in the quiet hiss of the valley. Mrs. Beast. A piece paid for with constant vigilance against the scythe-clawed raptor packs that haunt the frigid forests beyond and the winged shadows that sometimes cross the sun. But the valley itself, their home, is a fortress of warmth, or so they believe. The first sign is not a sound, but a feeling, a low, rhythmic tremor that vibrates out from the bedrock, through the soles of their high-draped feet. It is not the familiar shudder of the earth letting off its pressure. This is different. It is a beat, a pulse, the pulse of a marching army. He scans the ridgeline, the high wall of stone that separates their sanctuary from the world of ice. The pines at the crest tremble, then sway violently. One snaps, its trunk breaking with a sound like a thunderclap, and then another. Something immense is coming. The clan falls silent, their simple morning rituals forgotten. Naira stops, touching her small, flint-tipped practice spear, her eyes wide with a fear she does not yet understand. The ground now shakes with a steady, concussive rhythm. Thump, thump, thump. It is the footstep of a god, or a demon. Then the first one appears. Its head is a colossal shield of solid bone, a great, ornate frill that blocks out a section of the sky. 3 horns, each as long as a man is tall, carve the air. It is a living mountain of muscle and armor, its hide like petrified bark, its breath a cloud of steam in the frigid air. A bull Triceratops. But it is not alone. Behind it, another crests the ridge, and another, and another. Soon the entire ridgeline is a moving forest of horns and armored heads, a herd, dozens strong. Driven from the frozen plains by a desperation for warmth that mirrors the clan's own, their destination is clear. They descend into the valley, their immense weight churning the soft earth, their eyes fixed on the rising steam of the clan's home. The prehistoric life of this era is a brutal, zero-sum game of survival, and the clan has just lost its place at the top of this small, brown bird. An old gatherer, too slow to react, is simply trampled, his body disappearing under the creature's massive, free-toned foot without it ever seeming to notice. They are not predators. They are a force of nature, an indifferent, unstoppable avalanche of flesh, and they are claiming the smoking earth for themselves. The world has been turned inside out. The clan of the smoking earth are now exiles in their own land, pushed out to the frigid edges of the valley where the life-giving heat is just a taunting mist on the wind. They huddle in a shallow cave, their backs to the cold stone, watching the invaders. The herd of Triceratops has claimed the geothermal heart of the valley as their own. The great bulls, their scarred hides thick with the mud of 1,000 migratory miles, stand guard at the perimeter. The females and their young cluster around the largest steam vents, their immense bodies soaking in the warmth. The clan can only watch, their stomachs aching with a cold that is more than just the absence of heat. It is the cold of despair, their entire way of life. The very foundation of their survival skills has been shattered in a single morning. Fear gives way to a desperate, gnawing hunger. The mosses are gone, trampled into the mud. The small creatures they hunted have been scared away or crushed. Cal knows that to do nothing is to die a slow, freezing death. A choice must be made. He gathers a small band of the swiftest hunters. Their plan is born of desperation. A simple, brutal calculus to create enough pain to drive a single animal away, hoping the fear might spread. They choose a younger bull, one that has wandered to the edge of the herd to strip bark from a hardy conifer. Their ancient tools are pitiful against such a beast. Spears of fire harden you with flint tips, and stones the size of a man's fist. They move like ghosts through the sparse, frozen brush, their approach masked by the hissing of the vents. On careless signal, they rise as one. A volley of spears streaks through the air. Most clatter uselessly against the creature's immense bony frill. One, thrown by Kale himself, finds a mark, sinking a few inches into the thick muscle of its shoulder. The bull lets out a deafening roar, a sound more of outrage than of pain. It turns, and the hunter's courage evaporates. It is not an animal. It is a landslide. It lowers its head, its three horns aimed forward, and charges. The ground trembles. The hunters scatter, diving behind rocks, scrambling up the scree slope. One is not fast enough. The bull does not gore him. It simply runs him over. The impact is a sickening crunch of bone and flesh. The beast, its point made, rips the offending spear from its shoulder against a rock, gives a final, baleful snort, and lumbers back toward the warmth of the herd. The survivors drag themselves back to the cave, carrying the broken body of their friend. The hard choices led only to death. Their weapons are toys, their courage a fool's vanity. They have learned the brutal truth of this new prehistoric world. They cannot fight a fortress of flesh head-on. As night falls, a new, deeper cold settles over the clan. But as Gale stares down at the herd, a different kind of thought begins to form in his mind. A thought born from the ashes of their failure. He watches the bulls patrol. He sees the paths they take. He notes the narrow pass at the far end of the valley, the one with the steep, unstable cliffs. The beast is strong, but its strength is in the charge. Its power is linear. His gaze shifts from the creature itself to the world around it. The answer is not in the point of his spear. It is in the mountain itself. The work is slow, silent, and agonizing. For 3 days, under the cloak of the grey, unforgiving sky, the clan becomes an extension of the mountain. They do not sharpen spears, they sharpen their minds, following Kayle's frantic hand signals and drawings scratched in the frost. They work on the unstable cliff face overlooking the narrowest part of the valley pass, using long poles of deadwood as levers and braided vines as ropes. The strongest of the clan pry at the keystones holding a massive scree slope in place. Every shift of rock is a gamble. Every creak of wood a potential death sentence. This is a new kind of hunt. A concept of primitive technology that feels alien and terrifying. They are not stalking prey. They are building a weapon of pure gravity. This is the dawn of strategy. A pivotal moment in the long, slow march of hominid history. The bait must be irresistible. Kale chooses himself and 3 of the fastest runners. They carry no spears, only stones to throw in the chair and their hearts to fuel their legs. They descend, moving with the wind, until they are dangerously close to the herd. The red bull, a behemoth with a scarred face and a shattered horn, catches their scent. It raises its massive head, its powerful keratin no USB dripping with saliva. The large, bony boss on its nose wrinkles as it snorts a challenge. Kale hurls a rock that strikes the giant near its eye. The insult is profound, with a bellow that shakes the very air. The bull charges. The earth erupts. The bull's pursuit incites panic and aggression in the nearest members of the herd, and suddenly, a dozen of the titans are thundering after the 4 small, fleeting figures. The humans run as they have never run before, their lungs burning with frozen air. The concussive footfalls of the pursuing dinosaurs a physical blow to their senses. They race for the pass, the walls of the gorge rising around them. Kale risks a glance back. The bull is gaining, its horns low, ready to turn him into a red smear on the grey rock. He sees the signal fire high above a small, desperate plume of smoke. It is time, with a final, lung-bursting effort. The runners dive into a pre-planned crevice in the canyon wall, just as the first Triceratops enters the kill zone. High above, the crown heaves. The keystones groan, shift, and then give way. The mountain falls. It does not begin as a slide, but as a cascade, an avalanche of rock and ancient turf. The roar is absolute, a sound that drowns out the thunder of the charge. The bellows of the herd. Everything, for a moment. The sky is black with falling debris. The canyon fills with a churning cloud of dust and death. The ground shudders violently. And then, an impossible silence falls, broken only by the trickle of loose pebbles and the pained, dying groans of creatures trapped beneath tons of rock. When the dust begins to settle, the pulse is gone, replaced by a tomb of shattered stone. The surviving Triceratops, their primitive minds overwhelmed by a terror they cannot comprehend, turn and stampede. They flee the valley of the smoking earth, not from the tiny, soft-skinned creatures, but from the mountain itself, which has woken and screamed its fury. The clan has won. They stand, covered in dust, trembling not with cold, but with the terrible power they have unleashed. They have not just survived, they have learned how to make the world their accomplice. From their high perch, the clan of the smoking earth watches the last of the herd vanish over the frozen ridge. The valley is theirs again, but it is not the same. It is scarred, wounded by their desperate act of intellect. The bones of the great beasts, which will lie undisturbed for more than 1,000,000 years to become the focus of a future science called Paleontology, or a monument to a new kind of power. This was not a hunt. It was a feat of engineering. It was the moment these human ancestors stopped merely enduring the prehistoric world and began to impose their will upon it. They looked at a mountain not as an obstacle, but as an arsenal. They faced a god of flesh and bone not with courage alone, but with a plan, a coordinated effort that transformed their collective fragility into overwhelming force. This is the brutal, brilliant genesis of human ingenuity, the realization that the mind, when working in concert, could wield a power far greater than any horn or claw. How much of our own civilization is built upon the foundation of that terrible, necessary lesson that to survive, sometimes we must be willing to bring the mountain down. This has been an alternate prehistory survival chronicle. The past is never dead. It is not even past. And on the distant shores of a warm, primordial sea, a different clan looks to the water, not for fish, but for a way to escape the new terror that hunts the coastline by the light of the twin moons.